Oregon. A lot of people were selling their stock over the course of the last few weeks, but the Ducks handling business here, 49-14 over their rival Oregon State at Oregon State. Should be noted here. So what can we take away from this? What did we learn about Oregon, if anything, going forward here? We'll talk about all that. If you're an Oregon Duck fan, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Your Ducks look very much so awake. All right, and that's a good sign for everyone in Eugene. If you're just a college football sicko and you live, eat, and breathe this sport like us, make sure you're subscribed here because it's college football, nothing but college football on this show, The Hard Count, on the On3 YouTube channel. So I think the biggest takeaway after this game is like Oregon maybe has an undiagnosed potato allergy. The way they looked against Idaho, not great. The way they looked against Boise State, also not all that great. Because honestly, the way that they played against Oregon State is how it has always been supposed to look. Like their roster is superior to everyone they've played to this point by a lot more than the margin they've won by, and they looked like it for the first time against Oregon State. They finally played to their level of talent. Now, Dillon Gabriel was phenomenal, 20 of 24, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was also a beast on the ground with his touchdown, with one touchdown on the ground, 54-yarder to the crib. Always a good sign when your quarterback takes it the distance. I think the thing that we see, though, from Oregon, because it's tough to really break down like the schematics of it all. Because, again, this is always how Oregon was supposed to look. I think, to put it simply, we saw Oregon now consistently play complementary football and stack positive plays. It's not, one guy's out of his gap and then we let up a big touchdown run and then the offense has to answer and then we need a special teams play. Like, you saw Oregon string good series together offensively and defensively, which is not novel analysis. But again, this is always the way that it was supposed to look for Oregon. This wasn't like Oregon played above their talent level for the first time. Like Oregon played to their talent level for the first time, in my humble opinion, and executed like it. That is a very good sign. That is a very good sign because I think it kind of puts to bed the idea that Oregon was maybe somehow like fraudulent. A lot of people thought that maybe during the offseason that they were going to be a Big Ten championship level team. We still believe that. And then they go out and play subpar against Idaho, subpar against Boise State, and you're like, were we wrong about Oregon? No, I don't think we were wrong about Oregon. It just took a second to gel because of what we said. A lot of transfer pieces still, I think, trying to find their footing. Dillon Gabriel, to me, is still the focal point for this whole thing and how it runs, with him obviously being the quarterback. I think for him, the quick trigger is the thing that you want to see him continue to progress in. Now, it's hard to have too many things to say about him with him going 20 for 24 on the day. But as he starts to even dial that in even more, this offense, now I'm just telling you, you're going to see it slowly but surely start to just take off and crescendo. If you're an Oregon fan, ideally at the point where you need it to crescendo at. Now, the way they ran the football, too, should be noted. Ran for over 230 yards, 240 to be exact, on the day. 4 touchdowns on the ground. You run the football like that, most days that's going to be good enough to win in a pretty definitive fashion. The thing that I'm encouraged about, though, from an Oregon fan, outside of the box score and outside of them seeing, a little bit of the way they were supposed to look, like Oregon in a lot of ways, I think, should be commended for meeting this challenge. Because if they had not, there was a lot of things that were not in their favor here. Road game, like I said, subpar start to the year, rivalry game, a game against an opponent where Dan Lanning said it during the week. This is a team now that is physical, was going to get big and run the football. And if you were not up to par, if you were not ready to bring your hard hat and lunch pail physically to the table here against Oregon State, that was going to show itself in a very real and a very ugly way. At Oregon State, they were going to swing their sword and take their shots at you, running the football. And so for Oregon to be able to meet that challenge, I think that should encourage you about the DNA of this team. Like this wasn't a team that, thinks they should just walk out there because they got the nice Nike uniforms and they were billed as a certain thing in the preseason, like just thinks they should go out and win the football game. Like it mattered to them. And you saw that sense of urgency. You saw the execution improve, and you saw the result that we've all expected from Oregon for a while now. So here's the challenge for Oregon going forward now. Had some success. How do you handle that? Because quite frankly now, look at Oregon's schedule, like they probably aren't going to have a game that should give them too much resistance until they play Ohio State October 12th. Like they're off this upcoming week. It is what it is. You play UCLA, should win that game handily. Play Michigan State, we'll see. But I mean, I think again, roster-wise, Oregon should be in good position there. How do you handle now success, looking how you're supposed to look? Can you keep building on that? Because some teams now, you'll have success and you'll take your foot off the gas, feel like you got it all together. Okay, hey, good, we had success now. Let's all exhale a little bit. The great teams don't exhale. And I'll say this too, Kirby Smart's teams never exhaled. Nick Saban's teams never exhaled. Dan Lanning being from that coaching tree, I would be wildly surprised if we saw Oregon exhale now going forward. I think Dan Lanning will put the pressure on this team during the bye week. I think they'll continue to build the right way with their sights set on their mission and honestly probably have the idea of building towards Ohio State in mind without overlooking the two games before that. But for Oregon, man, if you're a fan, you're encouraged they met the challenge, and it looked how it was supposed to look. Dillon Gabriel's had great stat lines before this game, but to see him have the quick trigger, to see the offense be able to play complementary football, the defense hold up their end of the bargain, the physical brand show up for Oregon. Okay, now we go. If for Oregon. Make sure you're subscribed right here. Get at me on the socials at JD Pickell, Twitter and Instagram. Let me know what you thought of this showing from the Ducks. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, man, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.